It's your boy, Big Papita 396. We're gonna lighten things up today. I've been telling serious stories, so I want to add a little humor. So I started with a different company way back in the day. And when I started with this company, they put me with a driver that worked residential in this city called Lenox. His name is Frank. And I don't know if Frank still works there at that company, but Frank was hilarious because I've always been a heavier guy. I always been a big guy. So when it came to like who to choose, I guess, for as a helper, he had some trepidation or some kind of, I don't know, because he assumed because I was such a heavy guy that I wouldn't be the best choice or the best option to work with because I would just hold him back because he had so many carts in Lenox. So Frank, very nice though, very gentleman. You know, he told me afterwards, you know, once he saw the way that I worked and everything. And he says, man, you work really good, because my job at that time was in Lenox. It's a tightly packed city. So they don't really have any space to put the cans. So my job was to grab the cans, place the cans to where they're not blocking the driveway, but they're in the street. And Frank would have a Corrado can, and Frank would dump the cans with his Corrado can, and I would just set up the cans. And he would just give me the way he wanted me to go, and he would tell me, hey, look, go down this street, then make a right. I'm gonna work like this, and if you ever get confused, you can stop and come back to me, and we'll work it out like that. All right, cool. So that's what I did. It was pretty good. You know, he would get these loads up, and he told me, man, I like the way you work, man. I really do. Like the same stuff I said at the beginning of this video, he told me. And I'm like, okay, cool. But one thing about Frank was, he wasn't that old. Frank was probably, at that time, in his early 40s, if I remember. Which means he's probably in his 60s now. But he had a fit build. He was a handsome guy, right? He was easy on the eyes, right? Easy on the eyes. You don't have to be a brain surgeon to kind of see that women gravitated towards him. But on the route, these women, they would come up to him and they would give him all kinds of food. I mean, prepared food that they prepared the night before. You name it. Any kind of dish that's popular, any kind of dish that you could think of. It was literally like Thanksgiving on this route. He would get breads. They would give him breads. They would give champorado. Here, Frank, here's champorado. All of the people, the champorado lady knew him. All of these women, they knew him. All of these women that would walk their kids to school, they would stop and greet him and talk to him. They would prepare him this food. They would just give him lots and lots of food. And I say, Frank, man, you ain't gonna eat none of this, man? And Frank tell me, nah, I'm not eating none of that. Why? This is some good food. This is some pretty good stuff. If you want to eat that, you can eat that. But when I eat lunch, I'm eat somewhere. He would go to this place, I believe, either off of Hawthorne Boulevard or Prairie, one of those streets. I think it was Hawthorne Boulevard. He would stop and he would go to this restaurant. They knew him. They have everything prepared for him. He eat his lunch. But the reason he told me that he didn't eat the food that these women gave him, because he says, I already know, Brian. The husbands hate me. The husbands don't like me, and I have a belief that they're doing something. They're doing something to the food. They're tampering with the food, in so many words, to keep it PG, to keep it clean. They're tampering with his food, and he's like, I'll never eat that stuff because I know that these men don't like seeing their wives giving me prepared meals, giving me breads that they've baked or stuff like that. And he said, I don't trust that food. I'm like, more for me. You know what I'm saying? I'm just eating it up. I'm like, yeah, this stuff is good to me. But bottom line is, Frank wasn't taking no chances. That's probably why he was so fit, trim, and in shape, because he wasn't eating none of that. He was not eating none of that. He goes straight to the little spot over there off Hawthorne, get his soup and whatever else, whatever stuff he was eating. He was like, man, I'm not eating that stuff, man. I ain't taking no chances. Shout out to Frank, though. I don't know if he still works there, but dude was funny.